Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
We're road-to-roota.com. All right, what's going on? It's hard to describe the feeling that I don't feel like there's going to be a slam in silver. I don't feel it doesn't. It's not resonating with me. The commercials are not set up for it either, which is 99.9% of the time. That's when we get slams in silver, is when they naked short into the top. I do hear that SLV is being naked shorted. The new SEC should be doing something about that, but they never will. So that'll be interesting to see. They're going to have to cover the shorts at some point, which means there's more and more pent up demand. The higher the shorting amount goes, unless they just default. So we will find out about that. I do want to tell you guys, I put out a comment yesterday. Let me show you it. If you guys haven't signed up for the free, and I mean free, email, Road to Roota emails, let me get back there. Go to road-to-roota.com, scroll down, and right there on the left side, free public road updates. And I'll keep you updated on what's going on silver, cryptos, and the world. A lot of stuff I can't put on YouTube because we all know why. Although I heard some people are getting brought back onto YouTube that were banned, which is a good sign. I always thought at some point they would, kind of like Twitter. You take out the bad guys that run these companies, you get in better leadership. So we'll see what happens. But back to what I sent out the other day that I think is very important. This is the email I sent to the free side. We're approaching a point where everyone in the world will be asking, quote, why does the price of silver keep going up every day? Imagine your neighbor saying, why does the price of silver keep going up every day? There are many answers to this question, such as the overuse in industrial products, obviously with solar panels, electric cars, everything. The expansion of once third world economies, China, India, all throughout Africa, everybody wants to be electrified, wants to be on the internet, wants to join in the amazing technologies that the West has been enjoying for years. And it will not stop. And that takes a lot of silver. None of this stuff will stop. So those guys say, they're just going to slam the price again. It's got nothing to do with the manipulation anymore. Their days are done. They are over. Now, they haven't been dragged out yet, but they will be. And then the lack of exploration of mining. That's a huge one. I'll get to that in a second. And then, ultimately, it's the rebirth of silver as a monetary metal. When silver breaks $50, the all-time high from 1980. I mean, look what happened to gold. When they broke $800, it's already up almost $4,000 now. Silver has a long way to go to catch up to gold. I think, remember, most of that silver since 1980 has been consumed. So whether or not you think 1980 was a real number or a fake number or a manipulated number, it doesn't matter. It's all-time high. But 2011, I think it bumped up against it. The reality of silver breaking through $50 by default will turn silver back into a monetary metal, and investors will start questioning, why is silver going up every day? It's like cryptos. Why does cryptos go up? And then they dive into it because they see their friends getting rich. That's what's coming to physical silver. So you better have yours in your hand the best you can. But I do want to show you this thing. So when you think about the supply-demand equation, it's hard to put your head around it because of the Silver Institute's fake numbers. But they do record, and people do say, they think that mine production those are correct numbers. I don't know if those are correct numbers. I'll probably tweak it. But we do have some action in the mine production in the last couple months. Now, the Silver Institute had an increase in mine production from 819 million ounces to 835 million ounces. So an increase of about, 15 million ounces. 15 million ounces was their expected increase for this year. When you add up all the mines. unfortunately, for those guys, the Silver Institute, we have 3 large silver mines. Now, they are copper mines, mind you. They're copper mines, but silver mostly is mined as a byproduct of copper. So you go to a silver mine, you're going to get a hell of a lot of silver. They get more copper, so they call it a byproduct, which is so ridiculous. But when it's priced at only $40, $44 an ounce, it's a byproduct. Copper prices jump as U.S. miner Freeport warns it will not meet contracts with customers. So, okay, and that's their copper mine that's down because it flooded. It's a massive copper mine, one of the biggest in the world. But it's also a very, very large silver producer. I think it's number 10 in the world. Not only that, there are 2 other copper mines that have gone down, meaning the silver is not going to come into production either. So Freeport is claiming force majeure. Get used to that word. You're going to hear it a lot on the comics. So literally the contracts that manufacturers have with this copper mine, they're not going to get their copper. So they're going to have to go onto the COMEX and take the metal off there. Silver is also not being produced here. So I went, and the mine there is called the Grasberg mine, and they make 357. Hold on, gold. 357 tons. So the 3 mines that are down are Grasberg, the Komokula with Ivanhoe Mines, and Codelco, a combined total of about 20 million tons. So the number that the Silver Institute is saying of 835, you take 20 off that. Maybe not quite 20, maybe more than 20. I don't know. But it's something much less than the 835. And they're going to, because these were announced, the Silver Institute is usually good about the supply side. They're usually pretty good because those, all the mining companies report, and they're all public companies and things like that. So that number will be lowered, the supply number, which will absolutely destroy the market balance, as they call it, because we have every category in the demand side going through the charts, through the roof. Solar up 64% in the first half. And speaking of solar, I'm just having fun here. Hang on. Bloomberg. Now, I have been watching Bloomberg in the precious metals. When they say something, it's always the opposite of what Bloomberg puts out, because they're literally the mouthpiece of the cabal. Solar manufacturers shun silver use as metal prices surge. And I'm like, it's easy for someone to say something like that, because as your mind wraps around, what happens to an industrial metal, if it's more expensive, you don't want to use as much of it, right? The problem with that is that the fact that the solar industry will take years to set up massive production lines that produce this new kind. They are working, don't get me wrong, innovation's amazing, but it takes literally 5 to 6 years for these production lines to get on. So just because the silver price has surged this year doesn't mean all of a sudden they click a switch and the new solar panels using much less silver come online. That's not how it works, and it's not working. So this is 100% Bloomberg trying to knock down the price. Great. This is a great sign for silver investors, because Bloomberg will only do the opposite of what's real when it comes to the metals. If it said, I would be much more scared if it said, silver's going to boom through the roof and buy all the silver you can. That's what they did in 2011. And then they slammed it. Now they're saying, silver's done. Stay away from silver. Global solar manufacturers, the largest industrial consumers of silver, are set. Now, the language is very important, because they don't want to get busted for lying and misinforming investors, because it's illegal to do that purposefully, are set to reduce use of precious metals for the first time in years amid a scorching rally in the price. Silver demand for solar modules installed this year may drop to 194 million ounces, or 6,028 metric tons, down 7% from last year, BNEF analyst led by Yai Zhang wrote in a note, not a report, just a note. Now listen to the rest of it. Consumption of the precious metal in solar modules, which accounts for 17% of silver demand, has risen every year since 2019, according to industry association, the Silver Institute. I told you that the Silver Institute fake numbers are quoted by everybody. That's why it's so important to call them out on their shit. Yet this year, prices have surged 46% to record levels, following gold as global economic uncertainty and trade tariffs have boosted haven demand. Interesting. Silver now accounts for 14% of solar module production costs, up from 5% in 2023. First of all, there's a glut in solar panels. So cost isn't really the problem because they're so cheap. Surging silver prices are exacerbating cost pressures on solar manufacturers already facing fierce competition and low market prices. While some solar manufacturers are accelerating research, on alternative materials such as copper, progress is slow and the industry will remain exposed to the silver's volatile prices in the near term, they added. And that's it. With this kind of a headline, you'd expect more. But some of the key things, they don't talk about solar's up 64% this year. The amount of solar installed is up 64%. Here is another article. Silver paste consumption declines. Growth in silver consumption for photovoltaics may slow down. Not go backwards, like losing 7%, slow down, but they have closer to real numbers. According to the latest paste formulations, that's what they spray that silver paste on the solar panels, and solar production plans, the silver demand for solar cells is expected to exceed 6,500 metric tons in 2025. Whereas Bloomberg was saying 2,000 or 6,028 metric tons. They've already blown by it, and these guys know more. These guys are the leading metals information provider, SMM, their manufacturer. But what they're saying, and these guys don't talk about the 64% growth in solar installations either. But they do talk about something interesting, and they say that the amount of silver used in the new solar panels has gone from, it's right here, entering the third quarter of 2025 with technological advancements. It's telling us what these advancements, how much they're saving. The dual-side silver paste usage for TOPCon decreased from 0.09 grams per watt in 2024 to 0.08 grams per watt, according to the Chinese PV industry. So that is a drop of 11%. So you've got 11% of drop in the amount of silver being used in each panel, but you have a 64% increase in the amount of panels purchased, put into operation. Huge difference. So the total amount of silver, although the amount per panel is going down by 11%, the installations have gone up by 64%. So we should see the Silver Institute say, oh my goodness, it's not going to be under 200 million. It's probably be 350, 400 million if you do the calculation. Will they do that? Hell no, because they're liars. They're liars and cheaters and stealers. So we have the big problem in silver. Supply is not keeping up with demand. Demand's going down. Industrial silver is through the roof. They're going to do more electric cars. Again, 25% again this year. Photovoltaics up 64%. All other electronics for AI and all that up massively. Supposedly 20% more with all the new data centers going in. More silver being used. So where are they going to lie, cheat, and steal now? They've already put out a report that silver jewelry is going through the roof. The Silver Institute put that report out at the beginning of the year. I mean, the only thing left that they can, and silver going into India, they're saying is massive. I don't think it's that massive, but it's up there now, around 100 million ounces. And that's the silverware side of things. And then net bar demand, they say is going to be up 8%. It had a bad year last year, but it's the reason is investors don't buy coins and bars anymore. They buy the ETFs. Now the ETFs are going through the roof. So with all this demand going through the roof and supply decreasing, how in God's name does the Silver Institute say that total demand will be down 1% in their forecast for this year? And they haven't issued anything. They usually come out with something around this time that says, oh, we were wrong. We were massively wrong. But they're going to be wrong by a significant amount. And the amount of net supply is with these 3 shutdowns will be down. Will be down probably 1 or 2%. So this is a perfect storm. A perfect storm for silver. And then all of a sudden, remember, when silver hits $50, all of a sudden the dot-commers will come out. All the techie guys will come out. All the crypto clan will come out and say, oh my God, my cryptos are just standing still and silver's going up $1, $2, $5 a day. I got to get me some silver. Where can I get my silver? Sorry, sold out. Unobtainium is what Cliff High calls this time. And I think it'll be after silver breaks the $50 barrier. Now, I talked to Jenny 2 weeks ago, and she was saying, silver was in the 30s. She said, I see it trading between $40 and $50 between now and the end of the year. It won't go down below 40. But there's a possibility that it might hit 50 and something might happen. She wasn't quite sure. I'm going to talk to her today and post it on the private road. Whether or not you believe in that stuff, she's been pretty spot on silver for a very long time. So I keep saying, oh, it's got to be something better. She's like, not yet. But this now she's saying it could be this year. If we break 50 and we hold above 50, it's impossible for the dynamic to go in the rigger's favor because everybody knows that silver is being consumed in everything now. Everybody knows that these mines are going down. Everybody knows that the paper price of silver is what controls the market. You see it on every podcast these days. And it's true. And it's the light of day that's going to end the rigging of silver. And all the investors that are going to come in at $50 and say, oh my God, silver is at its all-time high from 1980? How much silver did we consume between 1980 and today? And how much fiat money was created? And all of a sudden people start to understand we have a big problem in silver. The amount of silver available is 1-to-1 with gold, about 6 billion ounces of official silver. That doesn't mean we can get 6 billion ounces of silver. Nobody's going to melt down their silver eagles and all that like Jeffrey Christian thinks. So at some point we will see a 1-to-1 gold-silver relationship. Right now it's coming out of the ground at 7-to-1. The current gold-silver ratio, you're not going to believe this. Let me show you what it is. It is 83.4 to 1. That's ridiculous. And that is a byproduct of price suppression in silver and the banks pumping up gold because they have a lot of gold. Everybody's got gold. Gold is very plentiful. There's not 220,000 tons that's ever been mined. Try over 2 million tons. And there's more in the ground. So if you don't believe me, go to roota.com, search Yamashita's gold or gold in the Grand Canyon, or you can search anything you want over there. You can find everything you need. Roota.com, the search function. It's really fun. Just use it and it goes through. I've been doing this posting since 2010 is when I started the website. But I put a lot of information that I did with GATA before that. And that's where the Road to Roota theory came from, literally a comic book and a teacher's guide from the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston who says we have to go back to a gold standard. Yes, the Federal Reserve is saying we have to go back to the gold standard. And we will, because we have so much damn gold. So much gold. And so little silver. But silver is being consumed in quantities that are shocking. We shouldn't be consuming so much silver, a precious metal, precious, in solar panels. It shouldn't be done, but it is. And I think, well, India has announced that they have 5 times as much area available for solar panel installations, industrial-sized solar grids, than 5 times as much land available for that. Perfect land, exactly how all the things are lined up than they thought, and they're going to use it because they want to catch up to China. Who cares what happens in the U.S.? It's a tiny part of the market. It will be less and less relevant. The U.S. is going to be less and less relevant on many fronts unless we pull the plug on this. And Trump can pull the plug. But he's sticking with the market rigging for now, for whatever reason. Maybe he's going to try to get the Epstein crowd busted. I don't know. Truthfully, it's hard to tell what's going on with politics and the insanity of everything. Next week is a big week for Cliff's building tension just spikes the middle of next week. So hang on to your hats. All right. What else? I showed you that. The Greensburg mine. Here's an interesting thing. White House to pursue mass firings if the government shuts down. The Doge has already fired a zillion people in the government. The left is getting fired left and right, which is great. They're going to purge everything, and people are going to go out and get real jobs. It used to be you have a government job, you have a job for life. Not anymore. So if they don't, this is how the Republicans are going to hold Democrats' feet to the fire. As far as the budget, I don't think there's even meeting scheduled because the end of the fiscal year of the United States is Wednesday. By the way, if you looked at Cliff's data, it is middle of next week, which is the last day of the fiscal year, which is the day the government's going to shut down. We're going to see a massive spike. Does it mean all the pedophiles will be pulled out of Congress? Who knows? It could. Cliff said something big. He said a while ago, it's something big. Maybe silver goes over $50 and we just start running and people try to get it. And that's the thing. If you're a silver dealer, I got a great silver company. What's it called? Contra Costa coin? Not Contra Costa. Oh, shit. Forgot the name of the company. I'll post it below this video. Castro Valley coin. There it is. Castro Valley coin. Go to Castro Valley coin and say Bix sent me. But when silver blows over 50 and it's just running and nobody knows what the price is because all the exchanges have shut down, they're not going to sell any of their silver. They might sell it for 50 times what they think it's worth. But until there's a pricing mechanism in the market, they'll just hang on to it. So we might be selling, $1,000 silver for $100. We don't want to do that. We're going to wait until there's a true pricing mechanism. And I think Andy Schectman would probably do the same thing. If the pricing mechanism on the COMEX and the LBMA are shut down, which I think will happen when silver breaks through 50, what are they going to do? Just keep letting it run? No, the banks are short. The banks are massively short, and they can't get out of that short. Someone has to take the short for them. Will it be BlackRock? I think BlackRock's taking a big part of the short with the help of the U.S. government, probably guaranteeing it. It's real bad. Scott Bessent is George Soros's finance guy. Our Treasury Secretary, and Trump knows it. It's not like he didn't know where Scott Bessent went, who controlled that guy. 100% controlled by the Soros family. People try to tell him, no, he left Soros and he went off on his own. Yeah, who funded his own little adventure as a hedge fund manager that failed miserably, then he had to go back to Soros? Soros did. So, Trump wants to, get rid of Antifa and the deep state. Start by firing the guy to your left, your Treasury Secretary. It's a bizarre world we're living in. Anyway, should be exciting next week. I'm telling you that. That's what I got for you. I will be talking to Mrs. Jenny Moonstone today about, we're going to talk about silver, what's coming up for the rest of the week and the year. I'm gonna see if I can get a commitment that we're gonna break through $50 this year. I get how slow and steady wins the race, because the last time when J.P. Morgan brought the price up to $50 in 2011, they orchestrated a slam back under 10 at some point. That is not going to happen this time. Nobody's positioned for that on the Commitment of Traders report, and they didn't have this kind of demand. Less than half of this demand, I would assume. I'll go back in the old reports and try to dig that up for private road members. You want to join the private road? Go to roadtoRoota.com, click on subscribe today, and we're currently giving away the coolest silver coin ever made, the double struck Roota coin. Roota running down the Grand Canyon on a silver brick road, a little cave of gold over here to the left. Really cool coin. We don't sell them, we just give them away with private road memberships. So go to roadtoRoota.com and subscribe and get all the fun stuff. This is Bix. I'll talk to you later.